When it comes to Clutch Sports and La Media, it's fairly obvious to everyone at this point, they have their tentacles in nearly everything concerning basketball and the NBA. And now it's becoming so obvious, even guys like Stephen A. Smith, Rick Bucher, are speaking out on Clutch Sports their influence and their persuasion of NBA media figures. And speaking of media figures, we have Reggie Miller. Now, Reggie, when it comes to LeBron James, most times, is very complimentary. As damn near every game LeBron plays, Reggie recites the same old thing, year 21, age 39, ad nauseum. Now, the one time Reggie gave LeBron James a slight bit of pushback was Game 4 Nuggets vs. Wolves, comparing his leadership versus someone like Ant Edwards.
We've got certain guy veteran status in our game that are on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore that like to deflect and point fingers at others. Here's a 22-year-old saying, this is on me, it's my fault.
So Reggie right there left himself an out. They didn't name LeBron James per se, but I mean, come on, just do some deductive reasoning. Reggie's criteria of who he's talking about: an active player, veteran status, a Mount Rushmore player, and a person who deflects the blame and points fingers. If you're looking at the current NBA, guys who fit active players, veteran status, and Mount Rushmore guys, there's only 3 guys who fit that bill: LeBron James, Steph Curry, and KD. And first up, obviously it's not Steph Curry. Had the same coach forever, close to a decade, and he's out of the postseason, not even relevant. Now KD, it could be him, as he is a veteran and points fingers as coaches in nearly all of his stops. But unlike LeBron James, he's not on Mount Rushmore status. The only current NBA player who fits that very detailed criteria is LeBron James. Active player, veteran, Mount Rushmore player to some, and guy deflects blame and points the finger. And just so we're clear, Reggie Miller, he isn't some LeBron hater or some anti-Lakers former player. Reggie Miller most times is fairly objective and actually pro-LeBron James. That's why these statements, these uncomfortable truths, coming from Reggie, carry a lot of weight. As if he can see this as a neutral observer, really everyone at this point should see it, and it's the plain obvious truth: LeBron James deflects blame and criticism. Now, that uncomfortable truth had someone like Nick Wright get his pants in a wad, get pissed, and actually call out Reggie the following day.
When I think definitively he is calling out LeBron James.
Oh.
I would ask you know what, I'll look into the camera and make the request to my dear friend Dan Patrick, who has Reggie on the show all the time. Oh, yeah. And Dan is as good of an interviewer as there is in media. Make Reggie tell you who he's talking about.
The following day.
Who are you taking a shot at?
I'm taking a shot in general. I'm trying to give credit and creed to a 20-year-old, 22-year-old, because I want to put myself in his shoes, right? And I remember when I was 21, 22, I don't know if I could have gotten in front of a camera with the world watching and said, this is on me.
Now look, I hate to say it, but Reggie right here, just being an absolute coward. Are you that scared of LeBron James, that scared of La Media, and Clutch Sports? Because everyone and their mom knows who you were talking about and who you were alluding to. And Reggie tries to play us off that, he was making a general point about players, just veteran guys, compared to young superstars. But that's not all he did. He gave very, very distinct criteria, which only LeBron James could fit. That once again being an active player, veteran status, and a Mount Rushmore guy. If you wanted to just talk about Ant Edwards like he's saying now, you could have said this young player has a lot of maturity, took responsibility, and a guy at his age is showing tons of leadership and credibility. If you want to make it just about Ant, you could have said that. But you made a distinct comparison, made a point to compare Ant Edwards versus a mysterious veteran figure who definitely isn't LeBron James.
Current players Mount Rushmore, so
you just assume it's LeBron?
Well, who else is it going to be?
Well,
it could only be KD or Steph. Those are the only possible guys who could be on the current Mount Rushmore. Do you have a player in mind? Because you said current Mount Rushmore. If it's not LeBron,
I will leave it up to interpretation.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Reggie right here, again, a cowardly, cowardly move. First off, you're saying it's a general point, and now at the very end, I'm going to leave it up to interpretation, I'm talking about someone, but I'm not going to tell you specifically. Reggie right here just doing himself no favors. And one thing about the audience people watching basketball, watching clips like these, you, Reggie Miller, are not smarter than the audience. Everyone knows who you were talking about is a clear shot at LeBron James. Instead of running and cowering from the black SUVs, just own it and really take accountability for your own comments. As seeing someone take a shot, then backtrack, say it was a general point, then, oh, actually I was talking about someone, it makes you lose all credibility. And once again, looking at Nick Wright, well, this dude is an absolute clown. He was right about one thing, and that Reggie Miller is an absolute coward.
I think this is wildly unfair to LeBron. Wildly unfair. I also think it is incredibly cowardly by Reggie.
So when it comes to Nick Wright on this point, he is half correct. Reggie Miller is an absolute coward and should have stood by his comments, or just don't make the comments at all. But where Nick's wrong, per usual, is in saying LeBron James doesn't blame others, fake injuries, or get coaches fired, as LeBron's time in LA alone just disproves that narrative pretty thoroughly. As last year it was the foot injury, this year it was the refs, it's just basketball, and then Darvin Ham, of course, was the scapegoat, who got fired. What this whole Reggie scenario proves is that Clutch Sports is the specter of the entire NBA media. If you say something wrong, they're going to come down on you, cut off access, and try to get you fired. If you don't bow down, kiss the ring, there are certain things that won't happen for you, and certain breaks you won't get. In essence, they're the mafia, and you gotta kiss the ring that is LeBron James. And luckily for us on YouTube, we don't have those restrictions, those strings, to be controlled by Clutch Sports. As looking at LeBron James, this dude's antics, his constant excuse making, should be caught up by everyone in the mainstream. As again, just in Los Angeles, his actions as a leader totally disqualify him from any GOAT conversation with Michael Jordan. I mean, pick any year you want. Cryptic tweets, trade requests, trade demands, under the table sneaky stuff that LeBron James constantly does. The hourglass emoji hinting at retirement and saying, I don't have much time left, right at the trade deadline. Stuff like that is absolutely disgraceful and I have zero respect for. And if you're someone like D'Angelo Russell, seeing the hourglass tweet, the trade request, trade demands, how does that make you play on a night-to-night basis? Knowing you might get traded and might get moved, and all the pressure's on you if the team loses. The stress LeBron's role players are under, in all actuality, is more stress than he's under. As if the team loses, it's their fault. But if they win, it's all on LeBron James. And going one step further with the Jordan-LeBron comparisons, one thing Michael Jordan's done very, very well is not seeking the spotlight in his post-playing career. As whenever Jordan comes out and makes an appearance, it is pretty noteworthy. Does an interview, a documentary, it's front page news. And of course for the NBA's 75th anniversary team, when he showed up in Cleveland, got the biggest applause out of any player in LeBron's hometown. I think one of LeBron's biggest problems going forward in his post-playing career, even now to a certain extent, is the oversaturation in the media, as of course nowadays his own podcast to push narratives, protect his legacy, at really all costs. The off-the-court antics, the nonsense, just the general lust of the spotlight, people are done with, they're tired of it, and in 2024, even Kendrick Perkins, LeBron James shill, is telling this dude to retire on the spot. And one last thing I will say, a lot of Lakers rumors, who's their coach, the moves they're going to make, are going to re-sign LeBron James. Here's what I'm hoping for. I hope LeBron James signs an $80 million deal, the highest paid player in the world. And I hope the Lakers coach is JJ Redick. Because then, finally, LeBron James can't blame anyone. It's his guy, his boy, at the helm running the team. And of course JJ being extension of LeBron James himself and Clutch Sports. And to go full circle in this video when it comes to accountability, once again Reggie's overall point that he made initially was correct. LeBron does point the finger to deflect blame and get coaches fired. But Reggie Miller being so cowardly, scared of Clutch Sports, retracted his statements, rescinded them, and said it was a general overall point, which we all know it wasn't. So that right there is the end of the video. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.